and largest streets. Let me know if you can hear hello Keith, good to see you. Thank you so much, Lyle. It's good to see everybody. And right now, and let me know if you can hear. I ended up with a new DJI microphone. So where is that? It might be kind of hard to hear, and it's kind of breezy, but let me know what you can hear. And if you have not already, be sure to smash the thumbs up button. And we're getting ready to walk down the longest street, aka Colfax Avenue. So let's flip the camera around and see what we can see. Hello CGL, good to see you. And you're very welcome, Keith. I'm glad I was able to come. I do apologize for the wobble since I not have a working gimbal. And another thing is Prism does overheat the phone. Hello, Mr. Park Pirates, it's so good to see you. That's why I'm doing a horizontal a vertical live stream. Since I don't have a working gimbal and Prism keeps overheating the phone. Also, some good news is if you're not the biggest fan of a vertical live stream, I can always switch over to a horizontal stream on Prism. How are you doing, Amusement Park Pirates? I see that you got a charity stream going on. On tomorrow for Chalk Walk, where you're going to try to get as many Autopia laps in as possible. And straight up ahead, we're about to enter into the Colfax zone. Not sure why I just came up with this idea, but I do enjoy walking up and down Colfax, which actually goes from Golden, Colorado, all the way down to Aurora, Colorado. For those who do not know the distance, it is the length of 125 miles. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And it does take 2 hours to drive all the way from Golden in the mountain range all the way down to Aurora. Woo! Hello, Gizmo, good to see you. Hello, Amusement Park Pirates, Jalen and Tom. That's right, let's go. Here we go. Right now, we are at 11th Avenue. We got 3 more streets to go down. And originally, I was going to start right at Colfax, but it was dumping a little bit of rain, so that's why we're starting a little bit back. That's why we're starting a little bit back here. So I'm wondering I also do wonder, does anybody have any summer plans? And hopefully the weather does hold out. It's starting to drizzle a little bit, but the good thing about Colorado is even though it does drizzle, it does fizzle. Meaning that in 20 minutes, it'd be dumping rain, then poof, it's blue skies and sunny weather just like in Florida, but without the humidity. Hello Tom, good to see you. What's up? How are you doing? And hello Lyle. I did see that it was dumping rain, and that it was 100 degrees yesterday. This is when I wish I had a gimbal and a stabilizer, especially since I'm a wobbly hot mess right now. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. Hello Shay, good to see you. And I know it's kind of random, but I ended up eating chocolate chip muffins for breakfast. I got myself some chocolate chip muffins, and next time I definitely go and get myself some bacon and eggs. What's really interesting about Colorado is if you do look up in the sky, you can actually see a micro burst of rain coming our way. Good news is we can duck under a tree, and that should pass within a few minutes. So let's duck under some trees. Why not? Another thing about Colorado is that it's so dry that you barely get wet. But in Florida, when it starts raining like this, you better duck and cover, otherwise you're going to get soaked. And thank you so much, Lyle. I didn't know that links worked on verticals now. That's good to know. So I wonder, has anybody been to Colfax before? Yep, it'd be dumping cats and dogs. The one time I'm going to try to walk down the longest street, it'd be dumping cats and dogs. Welcome to our lives. So now let's switch sides of the street and get under some shade. It'd be dumping, it'd be pouring. And also, not heads up, the signal could kind of go in and out right here. That's the unfortunate thing about being out and about. You never know when the day is going to go kaput. Hello, Chaz. Happy Sunday. It's so good to see you. I also raised that we're kind of taking a hiatus from our regular live art streams, which means that instead of doing live art streams on Sundays, we'll be out and about exploring Denver. That's because my room becomes a furnace. And another thing is, especially if you're looking for places to live in Colorado, is if you happen to get a west-facing room, be very cautious during the summer, especially with Rocky Mountain sunshine and the ozone. It will be roasting and it will be toasting your entire room. So, learn it the hard way, not to get a west-facing room, even though the Rocky Mountain views and downtown views are absolutely stunning from Aurora. It be roasting, it be cooking all summer long, which is why we're outside rather than inside. Even on cooler days, it's like 81 degrees and it'd be overheating my phone. Happy Sunday, Chaz. Woo! So probably next Sunday, if they do allow it, I do have to check in advance. If we can, we're definitely going down to the Denver Botanic Gardens. We're actually 2 blocks away from Colfax. So thank you everybody for your patience. And I wish that the initial walk up to is a little longer than expected. Usually during the holidays, I do love to come up and down the streets just to do Christmas light tours. And there's like times where I'm just like randomly walking around seeing if we can like find not Disney display, but seeing if we can find this gigantic blue tree. One of the neighbors out here does put up does actually go like 100, does actually wrap the entire 100-foot tree up and a bunch of blue Christmas decorations. And that's why, for those who are wondering, that I don't mind walking these neighborhoods because I've already walked around these neighborhoods during the holidays before. Oh look, there's a piece of a bike helmet that I used to have when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I ended up going to an elementary school down really far away, somewhere in either Golden or Inglewood. I can't remember which. Oh, can you smell the roses? Not sure why, but whenever I see these roses, I be thinking of Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, somebody be honking the horns. Oh, I feel like I'm in Alice in Wonderland. Hello, Emma. It's so good to see you. How are you doing? And welcome to Tonio Tower, where we be walking around and exploring. Exploring the longest street in America, which we're 2 blocks away from. I gotta wait out on beep beep. Alright, here we go. Gotta make a run for it. Whoop. Now I be running. Now I be whooping. Here we go. I gotta check both ways before going right into the street. And yep, this is actually the longest street in the United States of America. And it's really wild. It's just about everything I know is connected to Colfax. Yet it could be miles and miles apart. You know what was funny is I ended up going to an event off Colfax. I forgot what event it was, and I thought it would just be like a 5-minute Uber. Nope, it'd be like a 25-minute Uber. Emma was asking, "Are you enjoying the World Cup?" For me personally, I don't really follow much soccer or follow any sports unless the Avalanches are going to the World Cup. Same with the Broncos and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Other than that, I don't be watching no sports. And now I'm starting to get into the Anaheim Ducks. Alrighty, I totally understand, Lyle. It was so good to see you. And I hope your evening goes very well. Hopefully you get some really good weather for yourself tonight. You know what's kind of funny is that me and Lyle, we were talking about just how dry it was where he was. And then kabam, the moment we stopped talking, it'd be dumping cats and dogs. That's right, Chaz. Woo! Go cats, go ducks. Oh my gosh. But I find I literally cannot believe that I literally cannot believe that the Vegas Knights swept the entire World Cup playoffs until they got crushed by Carson City. I was literally devastated. I was literally devastated when I saw the Vegas Knights be crushing the Ducks and then the Avalanches, and then, ironically, the Vegas Knights ended up getting crushed by Carson City. Alright, I do apologize once again for the wobble. One moment, everybody. Am I having deja vu? Oh, sorry. Whoop. Am I having deja vu, or did we cross Ivy again? Hello, CJ. Good to see you. Alright, so here we go. We don't want to be playing those leapfrog tonight. This is the reality across in some of like the busiest. This is the reality. I forgot what I was even saying. I literally sound like a disc jockey right now. You know you had a long day when you be sounding like more like a disc jockey. Oh, that's awesome, CJL. Do you have? Yeah, I'm curious, CJL. Do you have any plans that you mind sharing? For me, in a few weeks, I'm actually going down to Glenwood Springs, and I'll be seeing the hot springs for the first time since 2009. I might end up doing a mud bath and a massage depending on time and what's going on. You know what I find kind of ironic is that I was just out in Glenwood Springs back in April doing on the Amtrak. Next thing you know, poof, I'm going back to Glenwood Springs on a family vacation. So I'll be going down there with my family. That's where we're going to be meeting everybody. Haven't been on a family vacation for quite some time. Thank you so much, Chaz. And last time I was down there was in 2009. One of my friends, we'd be sitting in a hotel room, and next thing you know, kabam! We are ordering $40 of ice cream back in 2009. We thought it was $12 of ice. We thought it was gonna be a buy one get one free deal. Nope, $12 of ice cream turned into $40 after adding all the room service fees, the taxes, and the tips. Just as a heads up of why I don't order room service. Then you know what got me really laughing is literally the first day we got to Glenwood Springs. It'd be snowing up a storm as if Elsa was taking over all of Glenwood Springs and taking a break from Allendale. So I ended up getting up to Glenwood Springs. Next thing you know, guess what happened next? My entire family is in hot springs, and I'm like, whoa, how can you be in a blizzard? How can you be in a blizzard when it be snowing all day long? Over here, unfortunately it's closed right now. Was one of my very favorite shops. This is where I used to sell my origami crane earrings, and they used to have live music. There also used to be a window display. There used to also be a window display showing a gigantic cat in the hat cutout. And also down here, speaking of which, here it is. We made it down to the legendary Colfax. Right across the street is one of my very favorite Ethiopian restaurants where I tend to get spicy lentils and dal whip. Not dal whip, but dal bite. Also, do you know that they actually serve the food on something called injera? Injera is a flat sourdough bread that can take 3 days to rise, 3 to 7 days to rise, depending on the heat and the humidity. And usually it's made out of wheat instead of tariff. Next to Bersian is one of my favorite Greek food places. I'm not sure if it's open right now, but I do love myself an olive hummus platter. So let's go on down, see what we can see. That's awesome, CGL. Do you know? I'm curious, but do you know who's playing? Over here is one of my very favorite antique shops. They used to have a gigantic jet. They used to have a gigantic Jetson cutout. Unfortunately, that was full. Unfortunately, they were selling it for $600. If it was like, I was gonna be getting it. It was like $40 back in the day. Hello, Angie. It's so good to see you. Hello, Tubes. Woo! So good to see you. Right now, we are oohing and ahhing at Autumn Antiques. Unfortunately, from what I last told, the antique market's kind of doing it not so great, but it's doing okay. Right down here, from what you can see, is some pretty rare Lafayette wood. It's a pretty rare Lafayette wood Denmark Lazy Susan, which I believe is going for. I can't really see the price for $40. Over here, we got ourselves some mill toothpick holders, and they'd be going for like, I believe. Let me see, and I believe they're going for like $38 each. Looks like we'd be doing some window shopping. I'm not sure what these sets are, but I do see some really adorable daisy sets going for $28 each. So yep, we'd be doing some window shopping. I used to come down to the antique shop looking for antique slot machines. That's why I always be looking around, and especially when it comes to the albums, I'd be looking for Dean Martin or Elvis Presley albums. I used to have a Dean Martin album until it got destroyed by the cats. Hello, Laura. Good to see you. What is up? And I know I'm kind of going off subject right now, but that's me when I'm like walking around. I'd be stopping at a bunch of random stuff, and I kind of wonder what this thing is right there. This actually looks like that behind the black speaker like casing. It actually does look like an antique projector, or that is where you literally had to put plastic scrim in, and it will project your photos. That does look like either an old video projector or photo projector. Wow. That really sucks, Tubes. Woke. This, as you may recognize, is a Poland land camera. And back then it used to be $24 to develop it used to be $200 to develop 24 pictures. All right, here we go. Let's keep the walking going. So if you're curious, we are actually walking down the downtown area. Usually you can see the mountaintops, but unfortunately, due to like the weather, unfortunately due to the cloud cover, you cannot see the mountains, which is why I do love this walk. Actually, speaking of window shopping, I would honestly be wearing these cowboy boots. With my pink bellhop jacket. Yep, we living the dream. And I'm curious, Tubes, how are you Tubes doing, by the way? Aww. This cowboy hat, this hat right there, gets me feeling like Dolly Parton. Not sure why, this outfit does remind me of Dolly Parton. Alright, so down we go. Let's see what else we can see. Another thing is there will be a lot of construction going on and a whole lot of noise. This right there is number 15 bus that will take you all the way from Union Station, and that bus, monorail, will take you all the way down to Tower Road in Aurora or Aurora Central Station, where you can find the Aurora Library. Yeah, Denver actually does plan on taking out the number 15 and putting in a Colfax shuttle system, which is why they've been ripping out the middle of the street. Honestly, the only downside about this is it makes it really hard to get to any of the businesses or to find parking if you happen to be a driver. That's awesome, Toops. I'm curious, Toops. What items does your wife enjoy? What items does your wife often get from the antique shops? And hello, James. Good to see you. Woo! How is Alaska treating you? Another thing is, especially if you're visiting and you do want to go up and down Colfax, is that instead of having the bus stops on the side of the streets, which I'll show you, you do have to walk up into the middle of the street, which can be a little scary. And this is where they will have the bus stop. Yep, we'd be following these red lines, and I would definitely be wearing them cowboy boots. Across from us is a beauty supply and salon, especially if you're taking cosmetology. One of my family members was a cosmetologist, and she ended up graduating with a hair and nail certificate, if I recall correctly. This right here can make it a little bit hard to walk. Yeah, this right here can make walking down Colfax a little difficult, especially if you're trying to get to the other side. Oof. Whenever I'm in the antique shop, I either be shopping for Elvis Presley albums, or I either be shopping for slot machines. But I honestly tend to prefer looking around for some. I honestly do prefer doing some window shopping. Over here is Denver Upholstery Design Shop, and I'm not quite sure what they sell since they have been blocking out the windows. From what I can tell, they actually do make their own designs based off the foam board, and they do have a bunch of like random doodads such as this flower lamp. Let me get out of the way since I just flower lamp, which unfortunately seems to have fallen apart due to the heat. That's just another thing about Colorado, is that the sun is so strong that most of your window decorations will either dry rot or disintegrate or color fade due to how intense the sun is by the equator. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something so intense. Not sure what it is, but there's something so intense about the sun being a mile up in the sky. I kind of wonder who carves this tree, and it does remind me of the topiary at It's a Small World in Disneyland. I do wish that Disney World used to have an outdoor It's a Small World display. Yep, it really does, Angie. It looks like we're under the sea. I kind of wonder what La Vista does sell. It looks like it does sell some coffee, cocktail, and wines. That looks so good right now. And unfortunately, it does look like it's closed, and it is actually a glammed up motel. One thing I really love about Old Colfax is that Denver is actually reviving a bunch of the neon that used to be broken years ago. It's kind of hard to see here due to how the glare looks, but the sign is fully working, just like the Hollywood Hotel sign in Disney World, and usually most neon has been replaced with LED lights. If I did not have my microphone on, you'd be hearing nothing but drilling. Alright, across the street was one of my very favorite Ethiopian restaurants. Now it's a cafe in Kava. I kind of wonder what Kava is, to be honest. Not sure what it is, but it used to serve some injera, and before it was an Ethiopian restaurant, it was a boutique New York themed cafe, which a lot of people call it overpriced. Hello, Matt. Good to see you. Thank you so much I do apologize for not being very present today. I'd be sleeping a lot. And I'm actually glad to be getting out and about, walking around. Thank you so much, Matt. And I also forgot to ask you, Matt, were you able to get a bonus on Autumn Moon or Panda Magic? Aww. Oh, hello, David D. Good evening to you too. We happen to be navigating Colfax Avenue, which is the longest, busiest street in the United States. That goes from like all the way from like Golden, Colorado, down to Roop, to Aurora, to almost to Strollersburg, Aurora, Colorado. And that means a lot to hear. And that means a lot to hear Matt's gambling thoughts. Some days if I have not much going on, I'd be sleeping it off. But most days I'd be up and about, getting my day going. Here, honestly, right now is my very favorite time to walk, around 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's due to how the sun is reflecting off the mountains, and how the sun creates a halo effect within the clouds. Many years ago, I believe it was back in 2009 to like 2014. The way that the Colorado mountains and in the ecosystem worked is that it would literally rain every afternoon, and your evenings and your sunsets would look just like this. Unfortunately, around 2020 or 20 something, unfortunately around 2020 something, it did stop raining in the evenings. Not sure what was going on, but there was definitely a change in the weather system. Over here at the Supreme Chicken Place, this was going to be an international food truck station. Unfortunately, that business never got off the ground, but now it's a Supreme Mexican Grill and Bar. Hello, Master, so good to see you. And this definitely does keep me looking forward to the Death Valley. And it's definitely an amazing evening in the neighborhood. I'm curious, how's the weather holding up for you? And because of the Rocky Mountains and how they can influence the weather, I do wonder if it's slightly cooler over where you are, or if it's really steaming hot like usual. Hello, Matt. It's good to see you. What's up and how are you doing? We now got double Matts. We now got double the trouble, double the Matts. Woo! Over here, it's kind of hard to see since we'll definitely be wobbling on some pretty uneven concrete. We definitely be wobbling on some pretty uneven concrete. And over here is the group. Let me zoom on in. Over here is the modern financial place, and it used to be the great British pub which sold fish and chips. Honestly, I do miss being by that place, but now they be selling. I'm not sure what they be selling, but they do be selling breakfast rice, and it also be selling, from what I can tell, a breakfast pupusa. It does look like a Mediterranean place, and just as a heads up, especially if you happen to be on an electric vehicle or on a mobility device, these sidewalks are very, very uneven, which you can tell by how the entire show is wobbling. That's just a heads up. These sidewalks can be a little tricky to navigate, and this pavement is definitely not even unlike in Disney World and even Disneyland. I'd be holding a star as a statue, but we'd be wobbling, going up and down, as if we were riding It's a Small, but down the Colorado River, during Class 9 rapids. I can't wait to see you, Tomas. Yep, we definitely gotta be ready for this heat. And I can't believe that it's like 102 degrees by the desert, and even 90 degrees in Mission Valley. I wonder how close is Mission Valley to Las Vegas. I know that Death Valley is 20 minutes away from one of the major highways, probably I-70, Please correct me if I'm wrong. It'd be roasting, it'd be toasting, and now it'd be nice and cold today. Red light, green light, whoop. I can imagine, Chaz, it'd be pretty warm in Orange County today. You know what's kind of funny is everybody else be really hot and toasting, but in Colorado, it begins Rocky Mountain cold front. Not sure where it came from, but somehow in Colorado sometimes, because of how Denver is sitting in like a bowl, a bunch of the cold air does sink down and does cause a temperature inversion where the hot air rises into the mountains and the cold air sinks right into the ground. And in some part, I'm not sure if it is in La Mesa or in Nepal, but there is a place where the higher you go up, the hotter it gets, and that's why it's called an altitude inversion. One thing I do miss about Colfax is when it used to be covered with trees, and it used to be like trees, and it used to have trees every few feet. Unfortunately, because of the construction and the ongoing developments, the city has removed quite a few trees and replaced it with a cement jungle. I do wonder what these plants are. Looks like this is Revolutionary Salon. Aww. Another heads up about Colorado is that a lot of the businesses do close really early, around 5 o'clock p.m. on Sundays, and the city of Denver don't have much of a nightlife. I do love seeing myself some succulents. This one might need a little bit of water, so whoop, here's a little bit of water. Alright, so another thing about Colorado is that there's not much of a nightlife going on, which is rather unfortunate. Unlike Nashville, Tennessee, or even New York City, that goes on until 3 in the morning. We do have ourselves ceramics in the city, close at 5 p.m. So there's just not very much going on. A lot of libraries have shut down too. Just as a heads up, especially for people who are looking for things to do on a Sunday night, or just looking around the city as first-time visitors. Ceramics in the city looks like they're closed on June 3rd for staff meeting. I don't see anybody in here, but yeah. Yeah, but this is definitely a place where you can come on by and paint yourself some ceramics. One of my favorite things to paint was a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer ornament. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure what got me going, but sometime back in 2010, I'd be running into a ceramic shop in Lowry, which could be our next destination that we could go to. Next thing you know, I was painting. But next thing I knew, I was painting myself a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer ornament and a Frosty Snowman plate. That used to be my special interest. That used to be my special interest back in like 2010. Was Frosty the Snowman, and over here at Rose Pink, I used to sell my origami earrings. It looks like to me that Rosa Pink is definitely a plant. It's definitely a plant stone. It does look closed, but I do miss the days where I could go up and down and sell my origami earrings. As of now, I'm getting ready to sell 1,000 origami cranes. That's something I do for weddings. Is that there's a rumor that goes around that if you have 1,000 cranes at your wedding, you'll have forever fortunes and prosperity. So here's some of the new hours. They're definitely closed on Sundays and Mondays. And most places they do have parking behind the shops, which I learned the hard way when I used to be busing everywhere. And then I come to find out that they do have parking hours of days where my friend and I would drive. Moss says, Mission Valhalla is by the ocean in Orange County, and as far as the high desert, Vegas is 2 hours, and Death Valley you can take the 395 to Ridgecast, then the 182, 190 by the Badwater Basin. Is that the bus? Is that how you bus to Death Valley? Yep, and we got a bunch of the big waves in the red too. I am curious, Moss, but what is the Donner Point? I've never heard of the Donner Point, and it be sounding really busy. When I was in Florida last week, I was going to go to the beach, but it seemed a little hot and a little blah. It was just gonna be hot and roasty and too busy for all of us. So over here is a high-end food restaurant called Mozzick's. They do sell some really fresh mozzarella, especially if you're looking for some high-end ingredients and some very fresh bread. Sometimes I come in here for some pastries, for some chocolate dipped macaroons, which is once in a blue moon, and I just love how fresh everything is in here. I believe that sometime in July they do have a barbecue in the parking lot, and it's like $12 a person. Over here, where you be seeing people running across the street, is the Abbey Tavern, where you can get a whole bunch of French fries and a cheeseburger, and you can get yourself some lemon poppy ice cream, and lavender ice cream at the Nugs ice creams. So right down. It's a more proof that nothing can stop us now. Nothing can shut us down. So we got ourselves a box salad shop, which is definitely a new trend in Colorado. Back in 2011, everybody be wanting frozen yogurt. Now everybody be wanting salads. Usually, but very rarely, I actually come walking down in here, which takes me around 30 minutes to go get some ice cream. But most nights, I tend to pass over some ice cream, especially if I'm walking for exercise, night to night. Thank you so much, Keith. That means a lot. And also, Moss and Chaz isn't down the beach known for surfing. Of all things, I've never seen surfing before. Even when I was in Kona Island, Hawaii, even when I was on the big island in Hawaii, back in 2016, I didn't see anybody be surfing, which really did surprise me. Only to find out that surfing is actually a winter sport. Across the street used to be some sort of dry cleaning or restaurant, but I forgot what it was. I think that's where I think I remember. Across the street used to be a pub, and that is where my grandfather and I would go for hamburgers whenever he was in town. May he rest in peace. That place does have quite a few fond memories, and this is unfortunately going to be my very first Father's Day without my grandfather, which is really sad. But this building does remind me of my grandfather, and I kind of wish it was open. If it was still open, I'd be getting burgers and fries and a quesadilla in honor of my grandfather. Ironically, my grandfather first discovered quesadillas when he came to the college in Colorado, and he'd be eating quesadillas for the next 30 years. So now what I'm going to do for Father's Day is doing a quesadilla cookout next weekend. Happy Sunday, woo! That's awesome to hear, Moss. That the waves be massive, and I'm curious, were you able to see any surfers? What's really wild is that my grandfather was able to find a quesadilla in Ireland. That's so neat, Chaz. I forgot that you lived in Palos Verdes, and I kind of wonder how far is that from Las Vegas. at this light we're gonna be taking the U-turn. At this light we're gonna be taking the U-turn, and we're gonna be showing you what Colfax looks like when you're going down to the other direction. Right. Hi. So here we go. Let's go. Boom, boom. Oops. Thanks. Usually for me, when it comes to exercising either consists of biking and walking for like 1 to 2 hours, and then sitting down and getting a meal. But now for exercising, it'd be consistent of an hour walk, like just doing an hour speed walk, and then an hour power walk, and then going back. So this is what it looks like when you're going. So this is what it looks like when you're headed towards the Rocky Mountains. Unfortunately, we don't have time to walk all of Colfax, but if we could, we would definitely do that. Walking all of Colfax would take at least an entire month, like 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your pace and how the weather is. Right down there is some city donuts. So, unfortunately, what kind of surprises me is that the city donut place is not open, given that it's a Sunday night, and most people be hankering for a donut or some quick takeout. Actually, wait, it has been sold out. Wow. But hopefully when we come back, we can get ourselves a donut, or maybe a Voodoo's donut if we have time to walk an extra 2 miles. What's kind of ironic is that this used to be an entire picture of Homer Simpson. Now they only have Homer Simpson's Paul Homer Simpson. I hope he's okay. Oops, one moment. I'm now tangled in a power cable. Yep, I'm now tangled in a power line. So here we go. And now here it is, a nice, beautiful, and this is what the mountains actually do look like. This is what the mountains do look like at sunset. And if I was to get a donut, I'd be getting myself a peanut butter jelly donut. And right down there, I forgot to mention that this is the cash register building that was built in the early 70s. Not sure why it was a cash register, but I believe it was either AT&T or Bell Cell Service that built the building like a cash register to symbolize prosperity. I caught the hot dog building for some reason, like a beanie weenie, green eggs and ham hot dog building. Not sure why, but my daycare provider used to sell beanie weenies, and she used to chop the beanie weenies in quarters. That's why I caught the beanie weenie building. It's because of how she chopped the hot dogs. And not sure I'm going with that tangent, but moving on. Whoop. Wait. Stop. Wait a minute. The one thing I really miss about Colfax before this construction went down, is that it used to have kind of a bike lane that you could see in the yellow. And what's kind of funny about the construction is you know what's kind of funny about this construction is that because it's taking so long. Same with the construction in Denver Airport. Once the construction is finished, there are the things including this white arch. Once everything is fully installed, we'll be looking like it's 30 years old. That's what I find kind of ironic with Denver construction. Same with Disney construction. Is that it takes so much time that everything that was like new when the construction began looks really run down by the end of construction. Unless the city comes by and power washes everything, which would be really appreciated. Also, this purple building right down there used to be spicy wings and coffee. Now it's a lavender coffee shop. Not sure what they serve, because for me personally, I don't really eat at many coffee shops. Now it's racing across the street. Whoop. Boop.
Wait.
Colfax has really changed in the last 15 years. I remember when Colfax used to be really run down, and there was like no greenery or even on the streets whatsoever. That's the one thing I do give Denver Pop for is definitely reviving Colfax and bringing back all the neon signage. The one thing I really miss about old Vegas is the one thing I really miss about old Vegas is the neon signage, and that signage used to actually have to move the LED. You used to actually have to animate the lights themselves rather than relying on the LED screens. Now most of Vegas, except for Fremont Street, does look like a lot of billboards and television screens, which I find kind of sad, to be honest. So I do really miss I do wish I could go back to the old 1970s Vegas, be feasting on a bunch of buffets, because back then that's when each hotel/casino was individually owned rather than owned by Eldorado, Caesars, or even Rain, or actually not Rain but MGM. Back then the buffets be competing with each other for the most elaborate and cheapest buffet. That literally consisted of lobster tails, ice. That literally consisted of lobster tails, ice, and I forgot what else. Looks like we got ourselves a new zoning permit. Yep, for an outdoor eating and drinking area. Whoop. And this looks like it's a coffee house in here. This is a place I would really love to try out. And I believe it used to be an Ethiopian restaurant. I couldn't agree more, Chaz. I'd be soaking up the sunsets. And another thing that I do love about being out and about, I forgot where I was going with that, but another thing I do love being out and about, especially after a massive rainstorm, is that the air is so fresh to breathe and that there's no pollen. All of the rain has washed away all of the pollen. And another thing that I really do love about it, forgot where I was going with this, like a lot of my life, is that what I really do miss about old Vegas is that all the casinos would be competing with each other for like the most elaborate drink displays, bar food, and to give people the most free play on the slot machines. Nowadays, you must pay at least $20 to $50 for even a chance at getting a free drink. And I also remember in the movie 21 Blackjack that casino waitress would literally go around with pre-pouring drinks. And oh my gosh, looks like that we got ourselves a World Cup's touchdown. We'd be going around and pouring a bunch of with a bunch of pre-poured drinks, and you could just literally take a drink off the tray. That was the days. I know I'd be talking a lot of Vegas, but that's when I wish I had a TARDIS. Yep. I'd be loving the days where it sometimes gets so sunny that the entire sky turns pink. And I do wonder what used to be there. You know what's kind of funny when it comes to property development is that you know what's kind of funny when it comes to property development is that you don't be remembering what was there when it was all. You know what's kind of funny is when it be coming to property development, you be driving by the same building over and over and over, and then kapoof, all of a sudden it's gone, and you have absolutely no clue what was there. Welcome to Colorado, where you can see an entire building get built and destroyed in a lifetime. Same with Las Vegas. Pardon me. Over here, we do got stuff to talk about. I do love getting myself a Taco Bell Supreme. Another thing I'm always looking for whenever I'm at Taco Bell is like the ones in the Blue Moon. It's the ones in the Blue Moon Taco Bell pizza, which is served at least once a year. The one nice thing about having a microphone is that nobody can come up to me and be blasting copyrighted music. Sometimes when I'm out and about, I could just be walking around. Showing everybody everything, and then this random person comes up, turns on the speaker, and just puts the speaker next to my microphone and starts singing. That's some pretty wild things I've encountered when I was out and about in California, or sometimes even when I'm in Colorado, just like taking a video of something, and people just be coming up to my phone and be blasting their music. Not sure what the point of that is, except for the fact that some people be wanting to hoping that I get taken down for copyrighted music. I know some people are just definitely wild out there. I was once in San Francisco, sitting there enjoying my chill, and all of a sudden this person comes wheeling up in his electric vehicle, and he starts blasting the loudest rap music, not rap music, but blasting the loudest rock music. He was blasting his music. He knew I was eating, and I had a mouthful of food, so I couldn't really move. And he just sat there just blasting his music for like a good minute, hoping that I'd be getting a copyright strike or something. Not sure what his agenda was, but that was that. Oh my gosh, Moroccan Cafe. I actually get a feeling that this might be the same owners as Axum. Not sure, but this guy reminded me of Gordon Ramsay. That is so awesome. That is actual Gordon Ramsay. I had no clue. And this is the Cushion Heist, a break from ice. Announced by Gordon Ramsay in collaboration with Publicity. Oh my gosh. We definitely gotta try this place. Whoa. I didn't realize that this was an actual Gordon Ramsay inspired restaurant. Whoa. And one of my very favorite foods to eat is the Moroccan sweetbread lentil cake. I've had it once, but I would love to have it again with some steamed rabbit. And here goes the bus. Whoop, not the monorail. Oh, here goes another bus rail. I have a new name. We should be calling the buses bus rails instead of monorails. That's so neat, Chaz. That reminds me of the sangria in Morocco in Epcot. And I kind of wonder if they actually serve sangria. I'm definitely in the mood for some fresh sangria with soda water and orange juice right now. Yep, Chaz is asking what resort is that bus going to. Looks like that bus is going to the Aurora Central Station Public Library resort. That's the resort where you can sit around and read all day long. And sometimes the buses do go to the Aurora Community College Tower Road, to the Aurora Community College. I forgot what it was. Resort and hotel allegedly. Now I've been in the mood for some Moroccan food. I'm definitely going to come down one stormy night long ago. 5 passengers boarded an elevator. 5 passengers boarded the elevator. Boarded an elevator into the deepest and most nightmare. You are about to discover what lies beyond the 5th dimension, beyond the deepest, darkest corners of the imagination, in the tower of Moroccan food. Yummy, yummy. Who's hungry? And now we get a closer look at the Denver Cafe and Carver Bar and the La Vista Motel. This is what the full motel does look like. And I'm actually kind of curious at some point Do not stay the night, but actually eat at the eatery, just to see how the food does taste. Oops. Well, that was loud. Boom, boom. I'm actually during the summer. I'm actually thinking about starting a series called Tony Does Demo, since it's too hard to do live art. So I'm actually thinking about just doing like Tony Does Demo on Sunday nights. Other than that, it's 100% Hollywood Tower Hotel and Disney World. But only on Sunday nights. That's when Tony gets on the loose and starts showing you Denver. Oh, that's awesome, Chaz. I definitely would be wanting some sangria next time I'm in Epcot. And I'm also wondering, Chaz, what do you like about Epcot? Right? What do you like the most about Epcot? Or what country stands out to you the most? So it looks like they do have the Fax Pass. I'm not. So it looks like just like the Magic Key or the annual pass. You can get yourself a Fax Pass, where I believe you can either get points or discounts depending on how many places you eat on Colfax. That actually does remind me of the Magic Key in Disneyland. I kind of wonder what you get from the Fax Pass. That's the one thing I wish that they had on signs with like all the benefits, so you can know what you're getting yourself without having to go in or scan a QR code. What I really love about the Moroccan Pavilion in Epcot is that it is exactly 1.9 miles away from the Hollywood Tower Hotel, which you then realize just how close Hollywood Studios is, to Epcot. And if you look across the lagoon, you can actually see yourself the Hollywood Tower Hotel blending into Morocco from the Mexican Pavilion. Another interesting thing is that some of the Imagineers claim that the Tower of Tower Morocco disguise was a complete coincidence, because nowhere in the Tower of Tower manuscripts or books actually said that the Tower of Tower was supposed to be blended in with Morocco, or was and there was actually no mentions of Morocco in the original Tower of Tower blueprints, and some people be honking their horns as I'm just standing here. Oh look, here comes a hidden Mickey. Woo! Oh look, anybody else sees this, but there's definitely a hidden Mickey right there. Some people be loving their music, jamming up their music too. They're more on the body. That's where my family used to get their cars fixed. You know, it's kind of strange that sometimes I'm standing out on the sidewalk and people be randomly honking when I'm holding my phone up. Oh look here. Yeah, some people do get the cars all decked out too. This honestly looks pretty not abandoned, but this honestly looks very quiet right now. Going in class on Colfax. I do think that this place is actually closed on Sunday, which is why it's very quiet right now. That's so neat, Chaz, that the vibe in Epcot is pure Disney adult. The food and festivals are awesome. Don't even mention Spaceship, both in the grand and miraculous Spaceship. Along with what I find really wild, I'm not even sure where I'm going with that, but if you buy $50 worth of food and wine, aka filling out a punch card, is that once you fill out your punch card, you begin some sort of prize or some sort of exclusive merchandise at the very end of your punch card. It does require $50 worth of food, because each snack that meets the criteria is at least $10, just as a heads up. Another thing about the punch cards is that it usually has a theme. In 2023, it was themed after Ratatouille, so everything was themed after cheese. But actually, let's see what's going on down here. So everything was themed after cheese, and you had to get a cheese snack at every booth. However, each cheese snack was $10, so you'd be spending $50 to get your five stamps filled out. Just as a heads up, then you could collect your prize. Looks like it's the Parkhill Hub and the juicing tree. I definitely want to come on back to the juicing tree. Not sure what juices they serve there, but I'll be wanting some juice. Oh, it's closed. Fresh juice. Parkhill Hub looks like it does serve some smoothies. And I do see a pineapple coconut smoothie. Yummy, yummy on the tummy. Oh, thank you so much, Moss. I'll be walking around. And this is how I love spending my evenings after a rainy day. It's just going up and down random neighborhoods and seeing random things that I usually don't see in Colorado. Not sure what it is, but I just love looking at flower pots. I also do apologize if I'm kind of. I also do apologize if I'm kind of hard to understand whenever I'm walking. Sometimes I'll be huffing and puffing, especially at elevation. I agree, Moss. I wish that we were all here in person so we could all walk together. Hi. Alright, I unfortunately do have to go in a few minutes. I unfortunately do have to go in a few minutes because I got some client work to finish up before tomorrow. Gotta get back to reality. Wah. So you know what? Let's walk on down to Ivy. Then we'll have to call it a night, unfortunately. Alright, hopefully we get the green go. Just like you might be like go. Oh, thank you so much, Chaz. Come fly with me. I forgot the rest of the lyrics. I be seeing. I'm not sure what it is, but whenever I see antiques, I be thinking of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. I know it's kind of technical, but what's really wild is I've been on YouTube for an entire hour, and my phone does not feel like it's going to go roasty toasty. But yet when I'm on Prism or using Prism, my phone feels like my phone be like roasty toasty, and it's about to turn it into molten lava. That's why on nights where I'm not using Prism, I be vertical on YouTube. But on nights where I have a gimbal, I be using Prism. One thing I love about Prism is just how smooth it makes the frames look, and it's very adaptable. Whenever the Wi-Fi goes kaput, we're definitely gonna be using Prism and Greenwood Springs for that reason. Even if my phone be roasted toasty, which is why we'll be out and about early in the morning or late in the evening, just due to the fact how roasty toasty Prism gets my phone. And now we can go vamos, go, vamos. And here comes the Castlecade. Hello, in the podcast, how are you doing? You came just in time. You came just in time to see what it's like walking down Colfax to all the way to Aurora, whoop, and all the way to the Rocky Mountains. I've actually been walking this route since I was 17 years old. That's the year I started taking public transportation. So sometimes you just gotta explore, see what the world brings, and sometimes you just gotta know when to run, duck, cover, and hide. So Mrs. Days, I know you like some motor shopping, so over here was one of my very favorite antique shops that used to have a bunch of goldfish. They used to sell beignets and ramen, and they used to sell a peanut curry noodle dish. Unfortunately, it got closed down, and it looks like it's either got sold or rebranded. Hopefully, the shop does open up soon, and that they would have some live music right there. They used to have a live band, and they'd have like at least like 3 food trucks parked out right here in the parking lot. Over here, which is another place that I would love to try on one of my Denver days on Sunday, is a Texas delegation, even if we must get everything to go and eat it a little bit later in the evening. Aww. I just loved it. I'm not sure why, but I just love the name, the Texas delegation, the delicatessen. I just noticed the play on words, the hidden word Tessa in there. Oh, same here, chats. I be vomiting all day long. Heard it this morning. Now it's stuck in my brain. And a huge shout out. And also, before I forget, be sure to check out In the Park Days, especially if you want to be singing vamos all day morning. Oh, the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. Oops, wrong copyrighted song. But especially if you want to be singing vamos in the morning, be sure to check out In the Park Days. Almost every day they be going live from the Magic Kingdom or Disney Park. And also another thing is, In the Park Days will be featured on Amusement Park Pirates podcast. On Thursday at 11 p.m. Disney World time. So be sure to pump up on your Red Bull, your Monster Juice, or anything that keeps you wide awake, because I will definitely be in there cheering everybody on Thursday. And also be sure to subscribe to Amusement Park Pirates, especially if you want to watch that podcast live. I be loving that podcast on the Disney news updates and hearing everybody's opinions. Hi. And also on the park days, they'll be almost at 1,000 subscribers. Woo! And I'm curious, do you have any plans for the 1,000 subscriber celebration by chance? I know I'm just thinking way ahead, thinking way in the future. Page and Mr. Mall, mission to the moon, mission space, mission breakout, whatever mission it is. I can imagine in the park days, even the 2 family cats, they'd be so demanding. And you know what's wild about, even with 2 cats, you'd be having to change out the little, feed them constantly, listening to them meow, giving them all the affection in the world, and instead of be meowing and crying. Welcome to the world of pet owning. So I'm curious, Moss, do you have any pets yourself? Or it's okay if you don't feel comfortable answering? Or does anybody have any really demanding pets? Or any really strange pet stories? Speaking of which, I used to have a cat named Frecklebutt. The reason that she was named Frecklebutt is that she was born in my mother's chest of dough back in 2009, and she had a little freckle on her bottom, so we call Frecklebutt. And she used to eat all the houseplants and any seasons we tried going for the garden. That was back in the day when we used to have a gigantic vegetable garden. So Frecklebutt be eating up all the bean sprouts, all the plants, and we would not be having a garden. So that's why we'd be having to put all of the plants in a terrarium and hiding them from the cat. And we used to also have a cat that we babysat from, named Tinkerbell. And one day, I was serving myself up a gigantic bowl of lentil soup. Next thing you know, Tinkerbell was eating my lentil soup, and it was half gone before I could even sit down. Yeah, but that's cats for you. One of my cats named Bessie. She be wanting you to spoon feed her. And another mistake we made is that my family got themselves some very nice wicker chairs. They were very polished, and it was really beautifully made. Little did our family know that we would be getting cats within 2 weeks. So long story short, my neighbor was moving, and we ended up babysitting her cat Tinkerbell. Then we got ourselves another tuxedo cat named Beck. After another family friend was like, you gotta go and take the cats. The cats are living in the barn and winter is coming. So we took the tuxedo cat. Then fast forward 2 weeks before we were supposed to go to China, back in July of 2009, I meant, is that we got ourselves, is that our friend was like, the same friend was like, you gotta take the cat, 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 please, you gotta take the cat. The cat's not gonna survive this winter. So of course, my friend literally, in quotation marks, has to steal the cat. She was the last mouse at the barn, so she had to steal the cat. That's how we ended up with Bessie. Then 2 weeks later, we go to China. But when we come back from China, Bessie is eating and is like not gaining any weight, so we get really worried. She's only 6 months old. Lo and behold, 24 hours before she goes to her first vet appointment, she gives birth in a t-shirt dome, and we call up the friend and say, you gave us a pregnant cat. And the friend was like, no way, she's too young to be given birth in a t-shirt dome. And my family was like, no, she's not. Just look in the t-shirt though. They're full kittens. And that's how we ended up with Falcobot. Unfortunately, Falcobot passed away in 2020. And the reason we kept Falcobot is that Falcobot and Bessie had a very close mother-daughter bond. Hello, Laura, good to see you. Right now we're just rambling about pets. Oh, that's so sweet, Moss. I had a dog named Mamo. It was 17 years old. We lost him in October last year. He is missed. Maybe one day I'll get another dog. I'm very sorry to hear, Moss. It was so hard losing Falco, but then like literally a month later we lost the family dog. Unfortunately, the family dog, I know it's kind of a complicated story. I don't really know all the details. Unfortunately, the family dog ended up passing away too, which was really tragic. So that's the one thing about pets is that you know that they have shorter lifespans. And speaking of pets, and yes, I'm going on another tangent, is this plant right there, oh god, watch out for Bumblebee, is known as a lamb's ear because of how soft it is. I once got stung by a wasp when I was trying to plant some pink tulips. Not doing that again. Oh, thank you so much in the park days. Aww. And also, right there is the state flower called the columbine. Over here is a little ladybug in the flower. And what was interesting is that my family got themselves an entire case of 100 ladybugs and released them all over the garden. The cats won't. Oops, sorry about the mic. The cats were not so thrilled when there was 100 ladybugs flooding around the backyard. Not sure what this tree is, but it does remind me of magnolia down south. Definitely not a magnolia since the flowers are a little bit too tiny and it's a little bit too arid for magnolias to even grow. Mama medulla. Oof, I be winded. Not winded from the walk, but winded from a good time. Looks like we can vamos, lollipop, lollipop. And I'm curious, I know it's kind of off topic and not off tangent again, but I'm curious, did anybody have a pet hedgehog? Or does anybody know anybody with a hedgehog? Not sure what it is, but one of my dreams is to hold a hedgehog or to volunteer at a hedgehog rescue place. One heartbeat unites us all. One heartbeat unites us all. One copyright strike unites us all. Uh-oh, we got copyrights. Just kidding. And over here is a sunflower plant. This, as you may recognize, is a sunflower plant that will grow to be 6 feet tall. And this, as you might recognize, is an ant and a ladybug. What I do love about the sunflowers is if you get a bunch of sunflowers, they will actually grow literally 6 feet tall in the sky and will produce a gigantic sunflower twice the size of my hand right here. for perspective, this is how big one of the leaves are, and this is already the fresh bloom. It's already the quarter of the size of my palm. Hi Robin, good to see you. That was a carpotia tree. I didn't know that tree right there was a carpotia tree. So you know what? Let's keep on bugging. Another tree that catches my attention is this pine tree right down there. That is a pine tree that is very common in Japanese and bonsai gardens. Not sure what the cultural meaning or significance is, but there was this Japanese restaurant that you take your shoes you'd have to take your shoes off at, and the entire eating area was surrounded by these pine trees. I do enjoy it. I do remember to pickle cucumbers and bell pepper, which I'd be feasting on. Yep, that's right, Chaz. It'd be a bug's life. This is honestly one of my very favorite streets to walk down because of all the architecture. I love seeing myself some old Denver. And what I really love about old Denver, the 1950s architecture, is that even though the houses look pretty similar, the developer actually took the time of day to make the houses each look very different and give them distinguishing features. Nowadays, most developments are cookie cutters that you see in Aurora or even by the airport, which is a bunch of like gray plastic paint, in my opinion. It's a pirate's life for us. Yo ho, yo ho. It's a pirate's life for us. Yeah, please clean up after your dog. And you know what's kind of funny about Denver dogs is the moment that you put up a sign that says, don't go to the bathroom right there. The dog, you know what the dog does? You know what the dog does? Goes up to this sign, sniffs the sign for a few minutes, and then goes. Welcome to Denver dogs. That's the reality of the pets too. They'll be doing the exact opposite of what they want what they want. I'm not sure, but I definitely do want to comment Sunday series whenever I'm out about is Denver Days of Tony. That's all good to know, Robin. That's special dog. A special dog special bathroom dog bathroom tolerant grass. Yep, they definitely have a fantastic garden, and I do love showing off. Everybody's gardening too. This over here does remind me of the flowering garden. This over here does remind me of the Flower and Garden Festival in Epcot, but I forgot what I was saying with that, but it does. But what I really love about these gardens is that if you let your gardens overgrow, it makes a really good place and habitat for all the insects and bugs. That's another reason why I'm not the biggest fan of raking my leaves in the fall. Is whenever you be raking your leaves in the fall, you be taking away all the bugs and habitats that they use to burrow, especially the worms and the moths that literally lay eggs and cocoons in the leaves that will hatch in the spring. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for such a fantastic evening and for being here. Be sure to smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to Tony Hotel for even more Tao tidbits, content, and of course, Denver Days with Tony Hotel on Sundays, where we explore all of Denver, Colorado, and we'll see you around. Woo!